Hello friends, this is our Black Friday deal running through the weekend. 20% off individual courses utilizing the code listed here, as well as an additional 10% off the already 20% off bundle of both courses together. A lot of people are still waiting to get into the chat room and live stream community, and those that finish the courses get automatically added to an express list. But once you are on that list, you still need to go to the website membership page and sign up in one of the two spots that open up each day. Now, last week we had a day where both spots did not get filled. So you need to go to that website and stay persistent, stay patient, as we are doing this to ensure that we do not flood our chat room with new people, new questions. We're trying to keep it as productive and as efficient as possible. So keeping it to 2 people a day does that. We appreciate all the support. Let's get to the charts. Howdy crypto friends, was trying to wait for a clear break to happen, and that's just not going to happen. So we're going to do the video anyway. We're going to look at Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, XLM, and NEO. We have Bitcoin holding support on Coinbase. Some exchanges have held support, some exchanges have broken support, and the odds favor bear breaks for that reason, and also because a bunch of the altcoins have already broken bearish as well. So here it is on Bitfinex. We can see the clear lower low breaking that support level, and here on Coinbase, that's not the case. So still watching that level down at 4,035. A lot of traders are waiting for the potential for a $4,000 climax flush to scale into positions and then look for the bounce on the daily time frame to play out, keeping in mind that we would just be looking for a daily lower high to form, and we would be watching exponential resistances, because the exponential resistances continue to be a great guide for us. The 12 and 26 period, look at the 4-hour time frame. Just a brick wall of rejections. Ever since the bear break at 6,200, we have rejected from exponential resistance every single time we've touched it, and it's been giving us clear 4-hour lower highs every single time we reject. So we now have 4, actually make that now 5 lower highs to be watching. Those are the numbers on the right in terms of where the resistance lines up. And at this point, it's very clear that the bulls have to, number 1, break the 4-hour lower highs. Number 2, get over the 4-hour exponential resistances. If they can pull those 2 things off, we then would zoom out to the daily time frame and scout for that lower high to form. The bears are extremely comfortable as long as these exponential moving averages are resistance. So pretty much there's going to be no significant pressure on the bears unless Bitcoin bulls can, put up a 10% move in just a couple of hours. That would put pressure on the bears. But aside from that, they're going to have ample opportunity to close their positions. We're not going to see any kind of short squeeze or anything like that unless some major news came out of nowhere, which we are certainly not anticipating at this point. The hourly time frame is also struggling at exponential resistance. Look at the last 2 days. Every single bounce attempt is struggling to get over these levels. So they're just a perfect visual guide, and with how clear the 4-hour exponential resistance has been at this point, I don't doubt that there are bots and algos out there that have it in their programming to obviously calculate what that moving average is and enter bearish positions when it is hit. And it's just been hit so many times so perfectly and rejected that that is the reason, in my opinion, that we might be seeing that happen. Also, obviously, manual traders as well. There's plenty of traders in our chat room that use that as a guide. So bulls have to form the higher low, hold this double low, see a bull break of 4,366. That would be the first shift of momentum. If we do not break 4,366 today, the bears keep complete control. If we do break down to another leg and break 4,000 psychological support, daily RSI will still be crushed. The weekly RSI will be getting towards oversold as well. We have not seen that at any point on this pullback. But again, the RSI levels have to be taken with a grain of salt because they alone are not enough of a reason to be looking to enter into a bull trade. So I'm still keeping, patient and watching for any potential bull opportunities, because when the bulls do show up, we should see an easy 10 to 20% move, but there's just no sign of them at this point. So clarity, 4-hour time frame is the most clear to me, not only with the lower highs of price levels, but also those exponential moving averages. Ethereum on the daily time frame already broke to the lower low. We had an inside bar bear break at 122.65, and the bears followed through with that into this morning. So let's zoom out to the 4-hour time frame here as well, or I should say zoom in. Very clear lower highs, just like Bitcoin. And we're looking down at support of 116.24. The bulls are trying to hold that level and break the lower highs. Have to see a break of 124.93. Then we're looking up at 136.71 after that. Exponential resistance driving the price down, just like Bitcoin, and a lack of support nearby. If we see a bear break, got all these saved lines here. If we see a bear break On Ethereum, below 116.24, we have no support until 100 psychological. So that's the level we would be watching. Look at the bear volume. It's a red Marabozu candlestick on the weekly time frame, which tells us the vast majority of that volume belongs to the bears. Not much by way of hope for the bulls at this point in the longer term time frames. Trend changes are a long ways away, even pretty much on every single time frame. Daily time frame for XRP, multiple daily inside bars with the bear break. Bears are having it easy here, just so many clear signals. If you go bearish at 425, we ended up pulling down to 39866. So a nice little 5% quick pullback. The 4-hour time frame, exponential resistance driving the price down just like Bitcoin. We had the equilibrium here with our low, high of the bounce, higher low, lower high. Higher low ended up being there with the lower high. Clear bear break was below 436. So you could have used, this is an example where if you use the daily pattern, the daily inside bars, the bear break was 425. But if you use the 4-hour equilibrium, you got a head start, and that bear break was 436. That's a significant difference. That's a couple percentage points that you could have entered earlier on because the higher low pattern had been lost before the bear break occurred on the daily time frame. So that's why I will always zoom in and look for more details, because oftentimes you can get a better signal that will give you a little bit of a heads up sooner. 4-hour lower high is just like everybody else. Most recent lower high is 429, and then the next level after that, we would be looking up at 459, and just trying to hold the support right now in a tightening range. Bears certainly still have the upper hand, and if we do get a bear break, it's all about 377. That's the most important level. We do have an equilibrium forming on the XRP weekly chart with our high, low of the pullback, lower high, and bulls are trying to hold this support level, very important, at 377, and also a potential bottom fishing play with that support level as we approach it. Ideally, we would obviously, excuse me, ideally, we would obviously have to see Bitcoin bounce on the daily time frame and see that oversold bounce play out. But if that can occur without 377 breaking on XRP, that's a great bottom fishing level that would have us looking for just a daily oversold bounce to set a lower high, but that could end up being a 10% plus kind of move. So keep an eye on that support level, see if you can find a bullish entry to position yourself with that support level. But obviously we need to make sure that Bitcoin's not going to break 4,000, because if Bitcoin does break 4,000, we're headed right down towards that support on XRP. XLM, inside bar bear break as well. Signal was at 18.8. We dropped down to 17.7, over a 5% pullback. 4-hour time frame, exponential resistance driving the price down. Equilibrium here as well. Let's see if it gave an early signal. High lows, lower high, higher low, lower high. Bear break was 19.57. The daily signal was 18.8. So yes, a significant difference, another 5% if acting on the 4-hour equilibrium as opposed to the daily inside bars. And why does that take place? Why does that pattern happen? How can there be a heads up earlier than on the daily time frame? And it just has to do with when the candlesticks are created and the timing of it all. And oftentimes the timing will, if you're on a broader time frame, you won't be able to see the little details that can give you an extra advantage. So again, in this instance, for these names going bearish, playing the 4-hour equilibrium puts you at a fairly significant advantage as opposed to playing the daily inside bars, which oftentimes is a bit more of a simplistic way to do it. You know, if you are trying to keep things simple, or you're a swing trader and can't watch often, then that would be an easy way to say, all right, just play that daily inside bar. But if you're a little bit more advanced with technical analysis, a little bit more comfortable of a trader, you're going to be using the shorter term timeframes to try and get that one step ahead and essentially try and have an edge on the people that can't put in as much time. So 4-hour lower high, and it looks like we just dropped to a lower low as well. So XLM is clearly the weakest name that we've looked at so far, because the 4-hour time frame just dropped to a lower low, just barely, but it still did. Anything under 1912 is just a lower high. And again, we zoom out the weekly support from here, not a whole lot nearby. 17.1 is the must hold level. Potential bottom fishing play with that level as well. But obviously we have to see the Bitcoin bulls hold support, shift momentum in order for that must hold support level to continue holding at this point. So a couple bottom fishing levels to be watching. When you're fighting the trend like this, and the trend is so very clearly in the opposite direction, the odds that you're going to get stopped out are very high. But you can keep that risk very small if you can get an entry close to that support level, and the maybe 1 out of 4 times, 1 out of 5 times that bottom fishing play works out, the gains are going to be so much more significant that you could go 1 for 5 in bottom fishing plays. And if you do it right by keeping that risk and reward in check, then that one time can pay back the losses from the 4 failed times fairly easily. NEO USD. So we highlighted NEO as a lead bear before this bear break of 12.24 occurred. We got significant follow through. Here we are dropping to lower lows. But why we're highlighting NEO now is because this is the kind of play where when Bitcoin does change its 4-hour trend, which will happen eventually, whether it happens after a $4,000 flush or before it, we can't say, but we know it will happen. And when it does, a name like NEO is going to see a more significant percentage bounce. So again, if you're looking for higher risk and higher reward, there are some of these altcoins that are certainly going to give that to you. And the 4-hour time frame for NEO, very similar to everybody else. We had the 4-hour equilibrium bear break here at 892. And since then, we dropped down to 827. So a nice 6-7% pullback. Very weak bounce attempt right now. Only support nearby is 803. There is no support on the weekly time frame. So you better be using stop losses because things can continue to get ugly. 374 is the next support level. So 4-hour time frame, the last lower high that we just set was at 865 resistance. Bulls have to hold support, break 865, get over exponential resistance, and then we have plenty of other resistances, 953, 960, 1030 for the bulls to make any kind of significant follow through. So support levels to be watching, but that all depends on Bitcoin shifting its momentum on the 4-hour time frame, which at this point there is no sign of that happening just yet. And patiently waiting for this tightening range to break. We're either going to see a clear break of 4,000 for the bears or a clear bull break of the lower high pattern on the 4-hour and getting over exponential resistance for the bulls. That's going to happen sometime before tomorrow, and we'll be paying attention. Last night was the kind of night where I was, watching and just gave up eventually. Said, is this flush going to happen tonight? And put some orders in, 3,800 in case we did flush down. But other than that, couldn't sit up and just, stare at the charts all night waiting for that break. Things were too slow. And in the end, that was the right decision. So I hope you all had a good, happy Thanksgiving for those in the US, and hope everybody else had a great regular day everywhere else. And looking forward to making some videos, working on wrapping up another course that we got coming out. More basic, looking over candlestick shapes and what they imply and the patterns behind them. And that's all we've got. Still running that Black Friday sale on the courses. We're going to donate for the Do Good Things. We're going to donate one of the days of the course sales, all the money that we get on that day to the Do Good Things Fund, which again in 2019, probably mid-2019, we'll poll the community and we'll vote on what we're going to do with that money. So I appreciate you all watching. Here at the end, I dug up a video. This is with my buddies in the middle of the redwood forest after some whiskey, literally miles from anybody, and there were these 2 giant trees, and so my buddies each had a flashlight, and we pretty much just had a rave in the middle of the forest, and you can't see it on camera, but my shadow is 30 feet tall in front of us, and was really cool, but all you see is me as a clown dancing like a fool in the middle of the pitch black. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks again. Have a great day.